Hello everybody, welcome to Tangle 20. Today I'm going to finish up the article display and navigation issue, which I spec'd out with this Gherkin here. Yeah, I can see here that this no longer is relevant. Let's go back to the template feature, which has user opens website. I can do that. User clicks link with text episodes. View contains header with text episodes. Okay, this works. Display entry, user clicks link with text. All right, so this is assuming that there's a list. View contains header, so then this is going to be in the entry page. View contains text, love your solitude. View contains text, this is pretty easy to implement. I'm going to click create all step definitions and put it in this bean here, and it puts it at the bottom. All right, so you can see I made this ID. So I need to go into here. So right now it doesn't have much. Let's go up one to parent and look here. So we have a nav, which is at the top, then outlet, and then footer. See if we can get the scaffolding set up here as simply and as symbolically as possible. Clearly, the episode page needs... Actually, this page is going to either be a list or this, so this will contain that. So now we're going to have to switch between these two. Which begs the question, how do I know which one to do? And so I'm going to use this one if there's a key in the URL, and use this one if there's not. So how do we tell if there's a key? We need to use the React use params function. So before the return, you can put all of the special processing stuff for React here. The format for use params is, this might look a little bit magical, just to explain. This is what's called a hook, and it's used by React Router. And basically this brings back a list of parameters. And so we're just going to take one, there should only be one, and we're going to give it the name of key. So down here, I can simply do so what this means is if key has something, do this, otherwise do this. This is the JavaScript ternary operator, and while I don't particularly like this syntax, this is the way you're supposed to do it. Now let's give this component a parameter so we can pass this in, and let's import these. Now to get the key, you need to put something in these parens. And just to be clear, because this can be confusing, use params has to do with parameters from React Router. And this is more of a standard React thing. So if I put in key, it's going to take the first thing from what's called the props object and assign it to the variable key. And just to see it, I'm going to put it right here. Now you may notice that I'm doing a lot of brace stuff. Basically, this thing here, when you're in the middle of some HTML-like stuff, you put the braces to allow yourself to put some JavaScript in there. I'm going to create entry, nav, and friends. All right, the last thing we need to do is wire it up so that this key will come in through React Router. If you remember, React Router is in our index.js, and so the way we get into this page here is this. So I'm going to do two paths to the same thing. One is without a key, and then one is with a key. The colon variable name syntax is specific to React Router. You can also go to different components here and not have this kind of thing here. I'll save that for some later refactoring. Let's just see if it works. So if I click episodes, it says entry list. Now if I put something here like blah, it says this instead. So it seems to be working, but the key is not showing up. Well, there's one of three possibilities. Either it's not getting extracted here, which we know is not true because it's doing a switch. Second possibility is it's not getting passed to this component. And then the third possibility is it's not coming into this component. Actually, and there's one more, which is it for some reason not displaying. We'll start with the last one. Let's see what happens. It says key is missing. Oh, I think I know what it is. It's the fact that I'm using key. Key is one of those words in JavaScript that is a no-no. All right, let's try it out. Okay, that works now. Before going further, let's get a full context of what we're doing, particularly the scaffolding. So if you go to index.js, this is the first thing that's seen. So we have this, which contains this, which contains these different things that go inside of parent. So parent is on the outside, has the nav at the top, footer at the bottom, and then stuff in the middle. So the stuff in the middle for the page that we're dealing with is going to be episodes. So episodes is either going to be an entry view or an entry list. So we'll start with entry list, and currently we just have this div. So let's put in the correct styling and sections. So to do that, we're going to go to our template and then open up this. Now, a good way to learn about the structure of a template or a website is to start out with making everything collapse. So you go folding, collapse all. And then we can do control plus and minus to open and close things. So I'm going to open that up, and you can see there's a head and a body. Open up the body, and we dealt with header already, but now we have this main section, and then it says footer and so forth. So we'll open up main, and then you can see there's 1, 2, 3 sections: hero, blog category section, authors. And if we look at the template, here's the hero. Actually, this whole section right here is the hero. Here's the category, and you can see this is kind of the list that we're looking for. And then here's authors, and then subscribe down the bottom. So the list is really going to look like this. So let's go into that blog category section, open that up. All right, so we have this single div. And the reason we're really looking at this closely is the Tailwind stuff. We want to steal all this Tailwind stuff for our own stuff. So we're going to apply the same sections and Tailwind to these pages as in the template HTML. Let's start with main. And I'm going to put that around the outlet. I'm also going to give this an ID of main view because I do reference that in the Gherkin. Underneath is sections. So we're going to start out with this, and then I'm just going to grab this one also and put that into episodes. Then we have a title. Let's skip the categories from now and just open this. And you can see that they're listing different categories here. and they have different items. So I can tell that the stuff in here is really where we get into their version of a list, which we're not going to need to do because we're using PrimeReact. All right, so I'm going to grab this whole thing because this is going to be one nugget. Let's call this entry card. Now we need to implement this entry list view. And to do that, I'm going to get to use one of my favorite things in software over the last 10 years or so from a company called PrimeTech out of Turkey, who makes component libraries for Java server faces, which is where I met them, and Angular and React and Vue. So a component library allows you to cobble together all sorts of widgets to do input, buttons, charts, lists. This page here is definitely worthy of a bookmark. Whenever you want to make some UI, you just sort of scroll through here and look for something that fits, and it tells you exactly how to do it. Just like Balsamiq, this is definitely a case where you should click on everything and look at examples all the way through. The major categories are form, buttons, and then data, lists, and so forth. Panels are particularly important, building blocks. Let's do a data view. It's a grid or list layout with pagination and sorting. Put this at the top. Make sure we got this in our Let's import this. And toggle full code. This is the one that you want to put in there. And it's asking for two things, a template and a list of products, or in this case would be entries. So I'm just going to say entry list, and then I'm going to say so before I wire things up to the API, I'm just going to make a little quick test. Okay, I have some sample books, and it should pass into this. I'm going to make a little wrapper function here. Okay, so instead of doing it here, I'm wrapping this around this so that it abstracts the functionality. Now for entry card, you're getting a props item in, so I'm just going to put entry. And then anywhere there's some text I want to replace, like here is the title. So I can just do entry, title. Here's the body, author, post date. We don't want that, it's an HTML comment. So let's have a look. Okay, so it's kind of working. The styling isn't there yet. Let's grab my thumbnails directly from my YouTube channel. Okay, I'm going to go home, click on this playlist, and grab the playlist thumbnails because otherwise they give you this distracting animated GIF. Copy image address. Now go into the card and change this source to be Whoa. Okay. They're coming through, but we need to change these. Let's see how big these thumbnails really are. You can see up here, it's 336. So let's just change this to that's better. Let's clean this up a little bit. First, we actually want to put the hyperlink in here. So one thing you should do when adapting HTML into JSX is change everything from class to class name. This is a reserved word in JavaScript. Now we're not quite getting, this is doing full here. We want it to look like this. This feels like a Flexbox thing. So let's look at my list. Yeah, okay. I commented this out. Let's try putting it back and see if that works. All right, so now they're side by side. Let's change this to, well, let's try 300. Okay, that's a little cramped. Feels like we're just missing. Maybe if we just add a little tiny bit. Okay. All right, let's get rid of the user image. This. And I don't know if I want tag. We need some space around all of these, so let's do some padding about, I don't know, 10. Actually, that looks really good now. Change the title. Now, wire up the API. First, I'm going to take this sample away, and rather than delete it, I'm going to put it into the resources. Okay, I might use that later. Let's go back to lists, and now we got to get this entry list in here. So we're going to get that from an API. I'm going to explain this in the next episode when I do it for the individual entries. Okay, so I'll explain all of this. I used another hook here and another one here, and this is the API call. Let's just try it out. This is correct. This is what's actually in the database. So we need better data, which I'll fake for now to make it look good. Pretty good. The images didn't work. I need to update the bean. Okay, here goes. Wow. See you next episode.